All right, guys, you're looking at the thumbnail, you're looking at the title of the video. You already know what time it is. It is time to get active. Guys, I was scrolling up on YouTube, and this interview popped up on my timeline. It comes from the No Jumper podcast. Shout out to Adam22. And he recently got into an intense debate over Kevin Samuels with another podcaster that refers to herself as Wheezy. At first, when I saw her name, I was not familiar. And then I came to understand that she is one of the hosts on a podcast called Horrible Decisions. So I went up and took a look at what it was about. I have not seen an episode, but here's a brief description on the Apple Podcast site. I'm going to try to filter these words so YouTube doesn't mess with me. What it's like to swallow a cucumber from the back. How it feels to have 2 eggplants in your viscous innards. The pros and cons of paying for schlong. These are some of the more tepid topics that were touched on in the podcast. Tepid means like lukewarm. So apparently they take it up notches from there. So I think we know where this discussion is about to go. Without further ado.
It's true, but I really enjoyed the Kevin Samuels interview we did, but I just can't listen to another evaluation of another woman's dating situation.
You had Kevin Samuels on?
Yeah, and I
think he's a terrible person.
Okay, we can talk about that, but I just have a lot of friends who watch this shit over and over, and I'm like, bro, at a certain point, don't you feel like you've just learned enough about unhappy women who are having a hard time dating?
Well, here's the thing is that because before this, Adam22 was actually talking about that he's tired of hearing dating relationship type podcasts, But here's the thing is that I think what the space has opened up is the idea of dating relationships, but from what men actually think, what men actually want. And that is new. That's a new form of content. And the thing is women wouldn't call in if they really didn't care what men think. So here's the thing, and I've said this before, large portion of the reason on why I support Kevin Samuels and the way that he conducts the conversation and what he does is because A, he tells the truth, and then B, for a valuable dude like myself, he speaks facts.
Not if the clips at first to me, they were jarring to see, but building a brand on on black girls, I don't like that.
You really think that's what it is though?
100%. I think some of the advice has been, I would say conducive, but for the most part, no, your most viral and salacious is really talking about women badly.
Right.
And I don't like that.
But here's the thing. This act of talking about women badly, is it badly or is it the truth? Now, I will agree some of the specific words that he does use is specific to him and his brand, the way he conducts conversations, and I respect the way that he chooses to do it. It's built a masterful audience, captured incredible minds with the way that he conducts these conversations and the skillfulness in his dialogue and his debate, and also pinpointing the true issues of what's actually happening. Okay. And he does that time after time after time, night after night after night, where it's almost like he's a psychic in understanding what is the person coming at him with, and then looking beneath the surface to uncover the bullshit that they actually live their particular lives in. But I think he has a majority black audience because of the topics that he speaks about. But I've seen non-black people call in, and he's had the same exact energy. Not to mention, before the average at best, he built his entire brand off of fixing and uplifting men. And a lot of the things that he was saying to men was way more harsh than what he says to women. All right. So is it that he's talking bad, or is he telling the truth? Let's keep going.
Don't you think that the women that he's on, they deserve it?
No.
Really?
No, I don't.
I think the point that I was so easily able to call from the Kevin Samuels thing was just these women are being raised to not understand what the fuck is going on. They just really
telling girls they're fat, looking like a linebacker,
if
shit like
fat,
that. That's fucking nuts.
The women that he says that to are the women who think that they're gonna get some. I've seen these women who are 300 pounds saying that they deserve a guy who's making $1 million a year and shit.
Yeah.
And it's that's not going to happen
It's
for
delusional.
you. Like, you are crazy for thinking that this is how the world works.
Yes.
And for him to have to even tell them that is pretty shocking to me.
It's shocking, but this is what we talk about is the pure and utter delusion. And it shows its ugly little head in vast ways, even outside of a 300-pound single mother of 3 asking for these unique experiences within her life as if she's deserving of it and doesn't understand how the outcomes and the results in her life got her in that particular situation. But it speaks to how deep down this culture has gotten that you have so much delusion and surrounding the women in it. All right.
It's just shocking to watch him speak that way because I don't
you're not
really
used to it.
see the caliber of woman he could get. Like, I don't find
But
him.
why does it have to
What?
go to that right away? I think the thing
Because
that's shocking
it goes
is
to that right away because you do need to be exemplary of what you're saying to people. I'm not listening. That's what the Donald Trump bullshit was.
Right, but he dresses
You can't
very
tell
well,
us
and when
how
he-
we need to be a country that's this, and that when your shit is fucked up and you could barely be eloquent.
Right.
Like,
The shit is that what do you know? What do you know about his personal life? what do you know about his personal life? Listen, we go over in the show all day. Wait, what do women want? What do men want? You don't think Kevin Samuels, in his now infinite wealth, right? Stylish, cool, the things that he does that he can't get women in their 20s, then you're bugging. It's so clear that so many just want to fight what actually happens today in reality because it disrupts the bullshit that they can push. Because here's the thing. This goes in direct contradiction of what she stands for. Having a podcast called Horrible Decisions where you talk about whore type shit and you revel in this whore culture, but then we go through the idea that men don't want whores, more than likely, lady in the streets, freak in the sheets. But if you outwardly, overtly show this whore identity, these very masculine attributes, then of course it's going to make you upset when you hear truths about what it is that you're doing. But here's the thing. You don't want to hear the truth. Okay.
don't tell me that I deserve a person who looks like this when like Kevin Samuels is 6.5, 7.
Right, but the thing about Kevin Samuels is that
money,
it's
eh?
not about him. It's like, number one, like, yes, he dresses nice and he came in here with an attractive woman and stuff. So he's doing what he can to paint the picture. But I think that the main thing that his content points out is just how women have had their hand held through life so much and are so not used to being told what's
truth.
real. And on the other hand, it's like, if you're a fat dude who's ugly and is not going to get in the I mean, it's just the world is lining up to let you know that you ain't shit. And a lot of these women, they
fat
figure
guys
it.
get fucked. That's
but
not true.
They figure it out at like 35 that they're just not. The world is just not as accommodating as they've been told their whole life.
And here's what she goes to. She goes to the outliers. Listen, the fat dudes have been told their entire life that they are fat. So instead of losing weight, what is it that they do? They make their pockets fat. But Adam's point remains. Men have gone through their life with intense scrutiny and intense criticism. And the only way that you can get the delusion in these responses is that those that have been raised up with rose-colored glasses and now they get put into the lion's den by calling into these shows and hearing the shocking, bitter truth. And the fact is, they don't have to do it publicly. My understanding is that he has an entryway for private consultations as well. If you really want his advice that much, then pay for it. You don't have to do it on a public platform. But that is the cost to play. That's the price to pay, is doing it publicly so I can monetize your story. Ain't nothing in life free. There's always an exchange happening. Let's move on.
And now we have Kevin Samuels to let them know. And I think that he's actually doing important work.
I can't wait for Dr. Umar to get his ass.
Oh,
I really
God.
hope they get him.
But Dr. Umar's living in a fantasy world. Kevin talks about real shit.
How is Dr. Umar in a fantasy?
Because he kind of relies on these like fake arguments too of being like, you say mean things to black women. It's not really about that.
No, Dr. Umar is like way deep. Mind you, he's super homophobic, and I can't even believe I'd be sticking up for him like this. But like,
Right.
I have really seen Dr. Umar for the good in what he's taught people about blackness that I fuck with him for it. I think like when I'm making the Dr. Umar Kevin Samuels joke, I really just want someone to see Kevin Samuels. Like I want to see someone really tell him about himself because I think he needs that. I'm not that person to do that. You're not that person to do that. But Dr. Umar, I think it really tear his ass the fuck up.
Oh, God. Okay. So you support Dr. Umar Johnson now because you think he can tear up Kevin Samuels which I don't believe. I think all of his talking points would fall under intense scrutiny, right? If you take out his talking points and take them out of the audience that he panders to and put it over here, they fall apart under scrutiny, because then you find out things about his life that he doesn't even follow. And he's more like what Kevin Samuels describes as a high value man, if you look into the details. But you choose to now support him because you want someone to take him down. Wow. Is this what we coming to? Oh, you know what? I'm just going to change how I feel about someone now because, damn, Godzilla over there, I need King Kong to come through and topple, because King Kong is the only... I used to not like King Kong. King Kong, he was fucking up these buildings before, but now I need King Kong to come over there and take down Godzilla. It's absolutely absurd to me, because now you want to stick up for someone just because he panders to you. Absurd. Let's keep going.
Maybe. But I don't know. I just don't think that the arguments that I heard from that viral video about Kevin Samuels, I just didn't think that's not going to hold any weight. If they're going head to head in a debate, I just think Kevin's going to wash the floor with him, because it's so much more ground level perspective of how we actually know that people operate.
It's just the message that he's giving. He's not really telling you like you need to like, you know, put your standards in check. He's really like shitting on these girls to the point where he's like, this is what you deserve. And I think
those are the women who call in and ask for relationship advice. So it's kind of hard for me to I agree. If you were to just choose a random woman in the public eye and just start rating her dating possibilities, that would be very like bad.
I mean, in a way, it's like the Jerry Springer shit, right? It's like, yo, why do they go on this show when they watch every week and they know they about to look crazy?
Right.
But I don't know. Maybe it's hard for me because of the age. Maybe because they're black women. Like, I just feel like every clip I've seen when he's shitting on a girl, they're black. And like, that's really hard for me to watch.
I feel like that's just his audience. Because I feel like he would be eager to talk shit to a white woman.
It might.
Yeah.
You think so?
I don't really see. Like,
I think Kevin would be eager to open up his platform and his audience to anybody that would want to talk to them. And the thing is like, here's the issue. Here's the issue that happens today. Let me cut this off right here, because I don't think there's going to be anything else so valuable that she'll be able to enter into the conversation. I think one of the biggest issues when it comes down to the content that we do within this space is that we do content and we look at different instances within our life. And then being as a black man, most of the ones that I can identify with are with black women. But here's the issue, is that there's so many black women that have an issue with it when it's only black women. And my thing is that, am I talking about that because I am frequented and appreciate black women and want to talk about the conflict that I, as well as the watchers of this channel, deal with? But in my mind, I'm separating out the race and I'm just looking at the behavior. And the thing is like, there's never a focus on the behavior. It's like you're just tearing down black women to tear down black women. And that's not it. We're focusing on the delusion, on the lack of reality and the behavior, and pointing out the problem. See, the thing is like, even when you go to the doctor and the doctor announces some type of diagnosis and you get angry because of the diagnosis, and you know, it's a typical response that can happen, but you are more willing to accept it because you're not saying, well, he's assigning this to me because of the color of my skin. And you remove that out of the equation. You just say, okay, this is just a professional that's saying I have this particular diagnosis. This is what I am seeing. So what are the things that I could go through to try to fix it? But those that continue to situate themselves in this idea of he must hate black women or he just hates women, and instead of saying, look at the behavior, male or female, black or not, is this good or is this bad behavior or is this delusion? Take all of your victim cards out of it and look at from a baseline perspective. What is the issue here? Here's the last point that I want to make in contrast to the Dr. Umar comment that they went into right there, is that it's clear to me, and especially now that I have a platform where I get to talk about all of these different things and my opinion and things like that, and whether or not you agree or disagree with me, I think that the power of communication and the idea that in essence we are pack animals, we are tribal people, you can convince anybody of anything if they are open to it. And I think that the power within your communicative ability, if you are good at it, right? Your power to sell people on different ideas, if you are good at that, you can goddamn change the world. And if not the world, just the people in your general vicinity that have an opening and listening ear to you, okay? Utilizing the ideas of pander allows you to remove logic out of the situation if it adheres to your biases. But here's the catch. Here's the kicker. It is ridiculously profitable to adhere to your biases. Well, what's interesting about that is that now there's this new bubbling up of space that says we have a man's perspective. We also have thoughts, feelings that have not been touched on for decades. That's why the particular thoughts, ideologies, and attitudes within this space are blowing up. And I think that it's important that men understand this content, especially if they didn't come from a space with strong male influence. All right? Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Guys, let me know, did I get this one right or not? Leave it down in the comment box down below. Shout out again to Adam22 of the No Jumper Podcast. I'm going to leave a link in the description box down below to go check out the remainders of this clip. I only went over like 3 to 4 minutes of this clip, of a 15-minute clip of an entire live stream. So I'll leave links to that down below. Until next time, YouTube. Peace.